What's up, guys? It's Justin with None for Lawn Pros. Today, we're going to work on making a homemade chute block for the new Exmark Staris 52. Um, it looks like it's going to be super simple. I was almost ready to pull the trigger on buying one of those, $200 or $300 chute blocks. And, I'm like, man, I'm looking at this. I'm like, I could make pretty much the same thing on my own for a heck of a lot less money. So, real quick, I'm going to grab this sheet of steel that I bought, and we're going to walk over to the mower and show you basically the idea, and then hopefully I'll show you the finished product. So, hang tight. Okay, so here we are at the mower. I'll set my steel down, and you can see this bracket right here. This chute block is only held on by these 3 bolts right there. Now this bracket doesn't fold all the way down right now because this part of the chute block is preventing it. If I took a sawzall or grinder or something and cut that to an angle, then this would be able to fold all the way down, and this bracket would sit even with this part of the mower. Thankfully, I have a flat surface to work with here. I don't know if the light is good or not, guys, but I know a lot of mowers have an open area that bends, and they have to, when they make a homemade chute block, they have to try to bend the plate. Luckily, I have a rectangle area here. It's 9 inches tall by 17 inches wide. So we're going to take this off, and then let's see if we can do the special effects here. Hang tight. We're going to try to turn this into... Okay, so change of plans. I didn't realize when I took off the black chute block over there, or chute, that I was going to have these 3 teeth that I had to deal with. I knew I had this bracket, but I don't really, and it'll fold down flat like I said, so if I can mount a piece of steel right here, I'll be good. But I don't want to take this bracket and cut these teeth off, so that I can mount my solid steel plate right here. So what I'm probably going to do, the steel plate I spent $34 on. I got it from a place called Metal Supermarkets here in Jacksonville. Used their quote form on their website, gave them the dimensions I needed. It was ready for pickup later that afternoon. And so what I think I'm going to do is probably order another one of these brackets from Exmark and then just cut it off. And then I can mount my steel plate to it, and then it'll fold down flat. And that way I'll have an original bracket if I ever want to put the black chute on, or I'll have my custom-made block-off plate. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I didn't realize that my old block-off plate was aluminum, and this one is steel. So obviously it's a heck of a lot heavier. So I've actually measured it so that it comes to this edge and over to this edge. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some poster board and make a template and cut it to where I can cut as much off of it as I can to drop the weight of that thing, because it is heavy. So anyway, I'm gonna work on that, and when I get that done, I'll make a video or finalize this video for the custom chute block. So anyway, hang tight, guys. All right, guys, this is Slick. He likes to help work on all my projects. We got the extra bracket in from Exmark. It was on back order, so it actually took about a week and a half to get it. So I thought I could just cut these teeth off, but if I cut the teeth off, I'm going to have this little lip here. I don't know if, hold on, yeah, there you go, you can see it now. So what I'm going to have to do is literally, instead of making 3 small cuts, just make 1 big cut along this crease here, and then I can bolt, grind it down, paint it, and then bolt my plate to it. And I actually got some rubber washers to go on both sides here so it doesn't scratch the paint, even though, I don't know if you can see it, there's a scratch there, and there's one right there, but, whatever. I'm just going to paint it anyway. So All right, let me get to cutting and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay guys, so this is what we did. We took the grinder and like I said, we just cut that angle right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the grinder and clean this up a little bit, paint it, and then we will mount the block off plate to it, and I'll show you what that looks like. Hang tight. Alright, so I ground it smooth and got it painted, so the next part is just let this dry, and then we will grab the block off plate. I'll temporarily mount this to the mower and figure out, you know, where I need to move the block off plate and mark my holes. So I'm going to be held on by these first two bolt holes, and then we'll get to mount it to the mower. Hang tight. Alright, so we've got the final cuts made, and I mocked it up on the bracket and the deck, found out where I needed to put my two screw hole or bolt holes, and have the first coat of paint on it. And I'll show you what the finished product looks like here in a little bit. Alright, so we're pretty much at the last step. This is the bracket that I had to cut those 3 teeth off of. Cut it, use the grinder on it, use the flap wheel on it, get it smooth, paint it, and then here's my plate. It's going to cover the chute, as well as this. That's what this little triangle's for, is to follow this contour here. So anyway, let me get it all put together. We'll show you the final product. Well, there she is, all put together. This is going to be version 1 because there's already a design flaw, but we're going to run it like this. I've got a buddy that's a welder, so I'll pay him to, well, let me show you what's going on. So we've got coverage where we need it. Problem is, these bolts don't allow this to sit all the way flat. So I've got a gap on the front side. I mean, there's no gap here, but it won't close flush to the deck. And then of course, same thing on the back side here, but it'll work for now. What I'll do is I'll remove the rubber washers and the bolts and the nuts and just have these two pieces here welded together, so that this all becomes one piece. And then once I eliminate these two bolts here, that should allow this to sit flush and close that gap. So, you know, I've got about $70 into this thing versus $300 for the ones on the market. And you know, some people are like, oh, but you gotta reach down and manually flip it up and down. Yeah, I do, but you know what, I saved a couple $100, and honestly, I'm gonna mow in this position most of the time anyway, unless I'm on an overgrowth job or something. So I'll save a couple $100 that way. All right guys, see you on the next one. All right, one more quick update here on this block off plate. I know the lighting sucks. I'm in my garage, and anyway, so instead of welding it, I took the bolts off that I bought, and I took the 2 of the 3 screws off the other bracket from Exmark, and they've got these rounded bolt heads right here instead of the big hex bolts. So that actually allows this to sit much more flush than it did before. Still have a small gap. So the only thing I've noticed on this is, you know, I cut this a little short on the sides. There is a small gap here. So I'm getting a lot of dust. You know, we have a lot of sandy yards. I'm getting a lot of dust coming out the front of this chute block right here. And it goes up, and then you're right into my face, basically. So I probably will get another piece of steel and and bring it out further to help eliminate that. And then the other cheap fix that I'm going to do is I got some 1/2-inch weather stripping that you would use on windows and doors. And I'm just going to, it's the peel and stick kind. So I'm going to clean the block off plate and just put some weather stripping stuff like right here and right here. So when it closes, there will be like a sponge, to help block that dust. And yeah, I know it's kind of a cheap ghetto fix, but it's going to work, and it's cheap. And when it wears out, I can scrape it off and put some more on. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one.